So, good evening, New York City, and good morning to Australia. It's Anzac Day in Australia right now, and we have some just one at the moment, important guest in New York City right now. I've always wanted to say hello, New York, and so I just did. So, we have Vince in New York City, and it's really, really cool because he's going to be showing us his guitar collection and all the Parker Fly stuff that he is involved with. So, here we go. We're going to introduce Vince right now. How you going, sir?
Hey, how's it going?
So how's everything in New York City? Because what we hear, there's a few things going on.
Yeah, it's a little crazy here in New York and New Jersey. I'm uh I'm in New Jersey, so we are the second highest. So it's a little
Yes, of
scary.
course.
Um
Is the lockdowns pretty serious there? Is it all policed?
no, it's not really policed, but there's people who are taking it seriously, and then of course there's people who are not. So,
Right.
you got to deal with that. But I think for the most part, most people are really taking it seriously. And my wife and I, we've been in. We only go out to get food and essentials, and that's really it. We haven't really done too much, or I haven't played a gig since March 8th or so. So there's been
Right.
no gigs. Just doing my Monday night live, um, Facebook, and now YouTube streaming, and that's what we're here to talk about is live streaming, and hopefully I could shed some light on it. I'm still learning as well, even though I've been doing it for almost 2 years. But there's
Yeah,
always
that's
something
that's amazing.
something new.
And and is that all right to maybe tell us about that guitar that you've got there?
Yes, this is an Adrian Blue signature model Parker Fly. It's called Tangerine,
Wow.
and it's intense. It has like a flake to it, so it really has under the sunlight and the stage lights. It's really amazing. Um, the thing about this guitar is it has the Sustainiac in the neck, and it
Yep.
has the remember the Line 6 Variacs.
Is it a rotary switch? Like it's a
I have access to 25 different guitars, which is
Oh, so is
amazing.
that digital emulation? Is it?
Yeah, it's actually the Variacs built into this guitar by Line
Wow.
6. Yeah. So all the features of the Variacs, the original Variacs. Um, so I have acoustic guitar, Les Paul Strat, Dobro, sitar, all different things. Unfortunately, I don't have that part of it hooked up. I need a power adapter that is powered phantom power through the 13-pin Roland. But I could, trigger some keyboard type stuff. Usually when I start my Monday Night Live, I do like a sustained chord,
Yep.
something like that. Is that coming through good?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All right. And then I do a little thing like maybe this, where I bring in the electric guitar.
That's cool, man. That's cool. We might have to just turn the camera around so we can get the guitar in there a little bit if you
Ah,
can.
yes. Let's see if we can do that.
Thank you,
A
sir.
little better.
Cool. So Adrian Ballou. So um, what was the band? He played in a band with Robert Fripp. Elephant Talk. What was the name of
Yes.
the band? Oh,
Um,
what was the name of the
yeah.
band?
One of my favorite guitar players, and I can't think either. King Crimson.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, because Tony Levin played bass with the drumsticks taped to the end of his fingers. Yeah.
Yes. And we got to see Adrian at the pier, I believe it was in the city a while back when we had an extreme heat wave,
Wow.
and he actually got sick from the heat and dehydrated. And the last song, he was like, I gotta go. So he ran off stage, and unfortunately that night I brought another guitar that I have for him to sign. And being endorsed, I was hooked up to go backstage in the whole bit. And when we got to go backstage, they were like, Adrian is really sick and we're really
He's out.
sorry. And I was like, no, it's fine. I'm not going to press the guy to come out. That's for sure.
Yeah, wow.
But yeah,
cool.
he was amazing. So was Tony Levin. The band was outrageous.
Yeah. So talking about getting endorsed, because there's quite a few budding musicians actually tuning in right now. So with that whole story about being an endorsed artist, like, can you maybe, before we get the guided tour of all your guitars, which I love and I'm jealous of, actually, just being honest, but yeah, just how did you go about getting endorsed? Did you approach the company direct? Did the company approach you? Because I know you're very successful at this online thing, because you already got well and truly over 20,000 people that follow you, which is actually sensational. It's an interactive audience, which we'll talk to very shortly. But what was the story? How did you get endorsed?
Well, my Parker endorsement is rather interesting. So I used to run retail at a music store that was the largest music store on the East Coast at the time before Guitar Center moved in.
Yep.
And basically the other music store that was equally large was Sam Ash. So I was working there as a teacher at this other store, Bach to Rock, which has nothing to do with the USA chain of guitar lesson. They stole our name after we went and shut the doors.
Fair enough.
But, so no affiliation, but I was working there, and a friend of mine worked at another store, and they had Parkers, but I really wasn't going there to buy a Parker. I was going there to buy a Marshall, because my store didn't carry Marshall. We carried Hughes and Kettner and Laney and all these other great amps, which I used, but I wanted this one particular 2x12 Marshall that was like 30 pounds and super light. So I went to his store, and he didn't have it ready for me. So I'm waiting for him to come out, and I see this Parker Fly sitting there. Beautiful guitar. Never knew anything about them. And I pick it up. Actually, if you see in the corner here, that blue one, that is my first Parker Fly ever. I bought in 1995.
Right on the this way.
Yeah, right there.
It's weird, isn't it? And
you warned me about this, and it's totally not. Yeah, so
must be a down under thing. Yeah,
it's awesome. So
hey, Mel. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
So basically, what happened to me? All my stories, I'm going to wind up saying, to make a long story long. So it's just the Italian New Jersey thing. I can't help it. So anyhow, the Parker guitar, I wound up playing it, waiting for him to bring out this Marshall amp, and I just look him, and I'm like, just put this on the credit card too. And that was my first Parker. And then after that, I started calling Parker with questions, not knowing that I was actually talking to Ken Parker for most of the time.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
They were very small, and they had not too many people working for them. So most of the time when I called customer service, it was Ken, but he didn't want anybody to know it was him. Yeah, great. So we wound up talking, and then you're going to love this. So the department store or the big store, IKEA?
Yes. I live down the road from one, actually.
Okay, so this is way back. I'm in IKEA, and we're walking through the IKEA with my girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
And there's Ken Parker. And I'm like, that's Ken Parker.
In IKEA?
In IKEA, yeah. And she's like, no, it's not. It's not Ken Parker. What would he be doing here? And she's like, you think you know everybody. And I'm like, that's Ken Parker, right? So we go up, and I'm like, aren't you Ken? And he's like, yeah, he's very he didn't want any attention. So here he is. You ever been in IKEA with the carts and you spin them and they spin forever because the wheels are all four have those wheels that spin? It's nuts. He's spinning his cart. That's how it caught my attention. This guy's spinning his cart. Anyhow, we get into talking, and he goes, "Would you like to come to the NAMM show and play our guitars?" Because then he knew he finally put a face to the phone call.
No.
There was no internet back then, not like this. So so that's how I got the endorsement, is in IKEA, hanging out with Ken Parker.
And I guess, but before he even asked that question, though, I think a good lesson is actually the interaction, right? So there's a lot of people that expect something for nothing, but you have to build a relationship first.
Exactly.
Yeah, sorry.
I had a few guitars by then that I bought for full price. And if you play a certain thing, a company's gear, strings, down to my first real endorsement was a string company, and I just loved the strings and I kept using them. And one day, another weird thing, I'm on a plane coming home from Sweden, and this guy's reading a magazine. No, I was reading a magazine, and this guy's walking down the aisle, and he hits the magazine, and he goes, "Those are my strings." And as soon as I heard his voice, I said, "Are you Anthony?" He goes, "Yeah." "Are you Vince?" I'm like, "Yeah." This is the guy that was selling me strings over the phone. I meet him 30,000 feet up in the air on a plane. It's nuts. So then we start talking. I'm telling him I'm doing clinics, and I got another deal with strings, and that's DR strings. I've been using them since like 1997. I don't even know when.
Wow. I have a funny story like that about voice recognition. When I went to New York, I looked up Electric Lady Studios, being a Jimi Hendrix fan. That was Jimi Hendrix's studio.
Yeah.
So I rang and I say, "Hey, it's Doug from Australia. I want to come to the studio, right? I want to check it out. Hey, I'm doing a new record. I want to record at Jimi Hendrix's studio." They're like, "Yeah, cool, whatever. Can I come in?" "No." Ring again. "Can I come in?" "No, no, no, no." They said no every single time I rang. And anyway, I learnt the girl's name. I actually went to the studios. I was like, seriously, this is the first time I'm in New York. I'm a diehard guitar nerd. I want to see Jimi Hendrix's studio. I go and I ring the bell at Electric Lady, and go through the first gate. I don't know if you've been in there. There's two massive doors. It's locked up, and anyway, it's in the basement. Anyway, I ring the doorbell, and this lady says, "Hello, can I help you?" Actually, she should probably sound a little bit higher because that sounds very masculine. And I said, "Hey, Erica, it's Doug." And she goes, "Oh my God, you're here." And they let me in. Like I wasn't allowed to take any photos because there was an artist in-house. But seriously, I really love your stories about it's a relationship.
It is
and
a relationship.
They said easily 6 times because I just kept ringing because if I want something, I'm just going to keep pushing. So, yeah, that was amazing. I got to go in Electric Lady Studios. Mind-blowing. I was like, this is so cool. But
that's
all
awesome.
I could...
That's
anyway,
I would like to do someday.
Well, maybe ring him a few times and I'll say no. Probably because, I wasn't Lady Gaga. Because I actually looked up. There's a lot of pop artists that's gone through those stories coming up through the ranks,
Sure.
So I'm sure lots of them have, yeah. But anyway, back to your story. So you got a string endorsement since 97.
I think it's about then. Officially.
23 years, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, they were my first company to give me strings, and they were great, and they still are. I use
Thanks, Shinbo.
a few different gauges. I use 8s on certain guitars because the hands are getting tired, a little older and tired. So I use 8s. I actually used 8s when I was a kid because I just loved like bending forever, But then I graduated to 9s and 10s, different guitars like Les Pauls. I like 10s and 11s on those. But yeah, I like the 9s and the 8s. Those are on most of my guitars. I believe these are 9s. Yeah, these are 9s on this guy.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so, Anthony over at DR, fantastic guy. Everybody at DR is great. And that's basically the best way to get or try to get endorsed
is to use the product. Use the product.
And make friends. Nobody likes somebody going, "Hey, can I have some free gear?" Oh, well, I have all of these fans and they're going to see it,
Yep.
but I don't use any of your stuff. They're just going to be like, well, you're just going to do that to the next 10 people until someone gives you something, and you really don't care for our stuff for any particular reason. You know, it's just you're looking for gear. And honestly, a lot of companies don't really give free gear, to be honest.
Right. Because the relationship works backwards as well, you know?
Right.
They want to see value in you, yeah.
So really, not being a signed artist, I'm very grateful to be part of a lot of.
So this is Remco. I've actually got one of his guitars on the wall just there. There it is.
Oh, cool!
So,
you showed me that the other night.
Yeah.
That's a
so
guitar.
He does. He's a developer. He designs stuff and makes stuff, and I guess I'm a test pilot.
Okay.
I'll say, hey, this has got to change. Need to do this.
Nice.
So yeah, stunt guitarist actually, yeah. But sorry, distracted. That was from Remco there. But yeah, he's awesome. But I want to go back to sorry, just to finish off the Parker story.
Sure.
So you met Ken Parker spinning his, in Australia we call them shopping trolleys, not carts, but that's cool.
Right.
So you go to NAMM. So what was the next step then? So you actually, what did you do then?
One other time I went to the factory, and he took me on a factory tour. It was awesome. It was when they were still in Boston.
Okay.
And I wound up taking home a few different Parkers with me that day. And I don't even want to tell you what he said to me. He brings me in this giant room, and he goes, any guitar in this room you can take home today for, I shouldn't even say how much he offered them to me for, because people that have watched this are going to pass out. So he goes, anything in the room for $700.
Wow.
Now, back then, they were still $1,500 retail. No, street price, MAP. Retail was like $2,500.
Wow.
So most stores were selling them at a discounted price. So I was like, wow, great. So looking back, I should have bought 10 or 20 of them, but I left with 3 guitars that day.
Wow.
And, that was amazing to be offered that price. And, I wound up having a lot of students. And this is where I'm going with the endorsement thing is, even though I'm not a signed artist to any particular record label or anything, I teach a lot. I have figured out the math. I've been teaching since I think it's 35 years this year. And I've been, thanks. Okay. Yeah, the Parkers are awesome.
Yeah. I think I played Dave's. Yeah, I think.
Cool.
Well, hopefully that's the Dave I know, but it might be a Dave that you know. I don't know.
No, I think that's a Dave that you know.
Okay.
But the thing is being that I have a lot of students and they wind up wanting to buy the guitar that their teacher uses, I wound up selling a lot of guitars just by default for them.
Yeah.
So it's almost like as if I was playing on stage all the time and having people see me. I just had an influx of students that saw me playing all the time and wanted the guitar. As a matter of fact, last month, even though they're not made anymore, which totally breaks my heart, they are only found on eBay used at this point, and Reverb, and in the corner of like a store that doesn't know what they have. But last week, one of my students, he played mine before the lockdown about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And he played it for about 2 minutes and he goes, you ruined me. I got to get one of these. And he found one on eBay recently. And unfortunately, he had to stop taking lessons right now because, with the lockdown, people don't have their jobs and they're either laid off or semi-laid off or whatever. So, unfortunately, I've lost a few students, but I've also gained a few because there's nothing to do and people want to study at home. But sticking to the Parker story and being endorsed in general, most of my endorsements are because I am out in the public eye, either teaching online or doing gigs.
So,
And
so to me, that sounds like you had social influence before there was social influencers. You
yeah,
know, so I think that's probably very pioneering of maybe Ken Parker to see that as a niche market, right? So it's not so much about playing to fans. It's all, but you know, there's another business, another level. I mean, even now there's influencers, right? I call them bedroom guitarist
yeah,
heroes, get bedroom guitar heroes. Yeah, so they've never played a gig in their life, but they do all these cool things in their bedroom, you know. So, but
yeah.
they have a following, you know. But it's funny. You're probably ahead of the game 20 years ago doing that. Wow.
Yeah, the only thing I wasn't ahead of the game on was seeing how YouTube was exploding. Well, it really wasn't exploding at the time; it was just there, and not too many people knew about it. Some people didn't use it. I actually remember one of my students telling me, "You need to get on this," and I joined and I made an account, and I'm like, "What am I going to do? Like what do I
Yeah.
do with this?" So I never really put together until later that gear demos are super important, and I have a great following that watch my gear demos. Again, by accident, it was purely just I was doing stuff, testing things out, and I made a video, and it got a lot of hits, and I started
Because
doing
it
stuff.
went viral, right? How many thousand hits? I think you told me before.
I've got over 500,000 at least by now. But
Wow.
yeah, and I haven't
That's amazing.
advertised. I haven't tried doing anything.
That's
I
cool, man. That's
Thanks.
amazing.
So
Yeah. Wow.
I just got to start really keeping it going now. It's more of the consistency, doing something every week and that sort of thing.
I hear you. I was starting this TV show. You know, I didn't think like 4 weeks ago I'd be like producing TV shows, but you know, rock and roll.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
was
it's
so.
great. I watched a few of them now, and
Thank you, sir. Thank
it's
you.
entertaining. Is great.
I, yeah, well, I was so excited, and I was doing 2 shows a day. That's how excited I was, and yeah, I've sort of had to wind it back a little bit because you know, as you do, but you know, only because I have the time now to do it. So hopefully, it was a great platform like this, getting in touch with people on the other side of the world, sharing a passion of sorts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, this is awesome. It's like we're right here hanging out. It sounds great.
that's cool. So are we with so the Parker Fly endorsement happened, and so did you get a review of all the latest models coming out, or did they ask you to come down the shop? How did the artist relation happen?
So what I wound up doing was I went to the factory in Boston, then they moved, and then I went to the factory in Chicago, checked that out as well, and I was doing clinics for them. So what wound up happening was I would do clinics and gear, like training.
Thank
Uh,
you, Veronica. Yeah, right. Yeah, please share. Please, I should say that
oh,
everyone. Please share. I forgot to say that.
I forgot to share us here. Um,
All
so
right, I'll let you share for a second.
yeah, we'll
I'll
come back.
cover.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll cover. Here we go. I'll just put me on there. Oh yeah. So Mike here, he makes amazing pedals, and there's one there, right, Mike? I'm in video production now of this little monster pedal. So I'll have to talk to you, Vince, about demoing some pedals for Mike. He's a legend as well. So just give me a wave when you're ready to rock.
Not
And
yet. I'm still trying to.
so those who are watching, please, if you have any questions, please post them in Facebook or in YouTube because it's been broadcast to both. And don't forget to. Oh, here's something I prepared earlier. There we go. Make some noise with Doug Jong. There you go. That's the name of my TV show. And please, YouTube, I need some subscribers. Actually, I really need a lot of subscribers. So please subscribe to YouTube. And if you are on Facebook, you're probably watching. But if you haven't liked my page, please do so that. And I'll give you Vince's page very shortly.
Cool.
And that was all the community announcements. Are you ready to go?
Almost. I'm going to share it one more time.
So
I'm really slow at this. Sorry.
No, you can play guitar, but sorting technical things. Don't worry.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
not the first time I've had to solve tech on the run. I had a guy, Nick. Nick Tung was on the other day. Awesome dude. I've never met him in real life, but I've met him online. Here we go. How much? And anyway, my point of Nick's story is that we had to solve some tech. Shinbone, how much does the guitar weigh? Parker's are super light. So you good to come back now?
Yes, I am now. All right.
Here we go. Here we
Parker is roughly 5 to 6 pounds.
So in kilos, 5 to 6 pounds.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to get a converter.
2.2 pounds to 1 kilo. So maybe 3 kilos.
Wow. Yeah, they're super light. Well, let me show you something here. I'll show you my original one.
Yeah.
So this guitar is from 2008. This particular one, and this is the Adrian Blue model, and it doesn't work unless you turn it on.
Oh, right. So how's it actually powered?
It's powered with a 9-volt battery, and then I need to use a 13-pin Roland. It will not work with a 1/4-inch cable. The 1/4-inch out is really made just for tuning, so you lose all access to the toggle switch and the volume knobs. It's just straight power from the pickup. So It's really not useful that way. But it's super versatile when you use the 13-pin. And this guy here, this is my original Parker Fly, and this is from '95, and it's in super condition. It's one of my favorites.
What's that wheel just at the
yes.
What's that wheel?
The wheel adjusts the tension of the tremolo bar.
No way. That's awesome.
So there's one, they call it a flat spring in the back, which you can't see because I have this, but from here to here, where this little thing is, there's this flat spring. It's like a giant piece of metal in there.
Right.
And it's a tension spring. And what happens is the wheel adjusts the tension of the bar. And when you adjust it just right, it's floating, which you can't see here. And I'll try not to hit the wall.
Very, very light. It says here you won't be pumping weights with one of those babies in each hand whilst in isolation.
It's super light.
That's amazing.
About it is, you see this little switch on the back here? That guy that I just moved back and forth?
Yeah,
that
right.
locks the bridge. Now I can drop D, and the guitar is still in tune. And then and I could tune up.
Hey Andrew.
So yeah, it's a very versatile axe. It also has a piezo pickup.
So what? I've just changed the color on that. That's nice, isn't it? What you were just saying? It's a torsion bar, not a spring. So that's like a difference in some motorcycle suspension. Is they use torsion, or even motor vehicles, they use torsion bars instead of springs for resistance. That's amazing.
I think I have one. Let me see.
Hey, Wendy.
Hey, Wendy. That's my wife.
Hey, Wendy.
All right. So check this out. So this is the
we might just have to turn the camera a little bit, sorry, to get the whole camera. Guitar in.
Do I need to move this way?
And maybe tip it towards you if that's cool.
There we go. Yes, we can do that too.
There we go. Perfect.
So basically what we got here is this is the magnetic pickups.
Hey, Wendy.
And then if I switch over to the acoustic,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so I could do that literally on the fly, but I'm bump. Cheesy jokes.
So, wow. So, what kind? Do you know how those pickups were wound, or are they anything really special about those pickups?
They're actually shallow this way because the guitar is so thin. So they're special pickups that were designed with Ken Parker and DiMarzio, and yeah, so they're actually held in without the ears. You see, there's no pickup ear.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
This screw here, the second one in,
Yep.
and the second one in on this side are actually Allen keys, and that loosens the pickup, raises and lowers, and takes it out. So
Wow.
that's how you adjust the pickup height on these guitars. Yep. And then we got this knob here is the master volume for both the acoustic and the electric. This is the magnetic. This guy here is the tone for the magnetic. This is the acoustic. And this guy here on the bottom, it's a concentric knob, is the tone for the acoustic.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you can actually change the tone of it. Wow, that's cool.
Yep. You could dial back the treble if it's too bright for you. Yeah,
There you go. There's a message there for
I
you,
see
Parker
it.
and Fishman.
From Remco, right? Was that who it flashed by?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. There we go. Sorry, New York delay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. So Larry Fishman and Ken Parker designed the pickups, which those little silver bearings with the string is resting on,
Yeah.
the saddle. That is the piezo.
Wow.
So you could blend and have the acoustic and the electric at the same time, or you could just have the electric, either one. And that's how I use it mostly. But because I have the Axe effects and the way I have everything, I don't have to flip the switch. So this switch here is either electric by itself,
Yep.
both, or
Yep.
just acoustic.
Okay.
So I keep it on at all times, and this is a special stereo cable that has magnetic and acoustic outs. And I have two separate inputs on the back of the Axe effects. And I plug one to the one input one and one to input three, and I made two separate rigs. So I have an acoustic rig and an electric rig inside the Axe effects, which I can change by stepping on the pedal board. I don't even need to switch the knob on the guitar.
Wow. And that what you were telling us about before, that little wheel about tensioning the whammy bar.
Right.
Do you actually use that live? Like, is that
no?
thing?
Honestly, I set this guitar up in 1995 when I bought it, and never set it up again. Once you get the tension right, and if you use the same gauge strings by the same company, you're good. So I always use DR9s, and I've never had to adjust the wheel ever again. It's like, it's set up and it sets up in itself. It's done.
So that's fantastic, man. And are we allowed to have any tour of any other Parkers you may have in the house?
Yeah, I'll show you a couple that have stories. So this was my first one.
Yep.
Let's turn that down so I don't pop the amp.
Yes.
And this guy here has a very, very unique story. So this
wow.
this wonderful finish.
Look at that.
They call this solar flare.
Yep.
They were basically the first company I've ever seen do this, and I won't mention any names, but they have stolen this. So if you see it, they call it Universe, they call it Galaxy, but Parker did this first. And oddly enough, one of the ones that I bought for $700 was this one. Now,
Right.
This has a story. What happened was I was playing
Thank you, Veronica.
with Larry Mitchell. I think it was his birthday gig sometime in early to mid 2000s. We were at a little bar in New York, and my trio was doing a set, and he was doing a set. And I think there was one more guy on. Yes, Bert Elliott. He's a friend of ours, and he uses Nags guitars, like Larry does. But anyway, this guitar was actually a 3 flip-flop color that they called Texas T. It
Okay.
was black, gold, and green. So when you turned it, it looked black straight on. It looked kind of gold. It looked kind of green. So what happened at this gig was I was playing, and I think I just did like something like this, where I just did this little bend, and oh, it kills me. So I did this. Boom! I have the video. So what happened was the flat spring that holds the bar together with the tension wheel snapped.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep. Now it has, I don't know, does anybody know the tech specs of how many pounds of pressure is on a guitar when it's fully strung? It's like 200 pounds or something, I believe.
70 kilos. Where's Remco? Remco, you should know that. If Remco's
So
watching. Yeah, I think
whatever
it's about
that,
70 kilos. Yeah.
okay, so whatever that weight is, when that spring broke inside, it busted upward
Whoa.
and split the top of the guitar in half.
Oh.
And I got to make a video for my YouTube channel and show, but my band keeps playing, and it was like getting obnoxious because obviously I'm done and I can't play. So I turn around to them, I'm like, guys, just stop. And I shake the guitar, and you hear the whole bar go, oh, it was terrible. So the guitar blew up, and I thought it was done. I left it in the corner for 2 years, just sitting there. And I was on the phone with one of the guys from customer service about
Oh, Wendy, she just dobbed you in.
yeah,
Oh, she just dobbed herself in.
yeah, she told me, oh, it's only one set. You don't need 2 guitars. Just bring one. There's less stuff to carry, right? So
Oh, so Wendy's a roadie. That's why she said that.
no, she wasn't even driving or anything. She didn't come. She just said, don't bring it. You don't need it, right? And of course, that was the night it happened. My guitar exploded on stage.
Spinal tap.
So, yeah, totally. So Larry was nice enough to let me use his guitar to finish my set. And, down 2 years later, I'm on the phone with Parker talking about a toggle switch issue that I had with another guitar. And they're like, yeah, we'll send you a toggle, no problem. So I was like, okay, great, thanks. I said, hey, check this out. One gig years ago, my guitar exploded. The spring broke and cracked the guitar right in half, and I can't use it. He's like, oh, man, you should have called this right then and there. He goes, send it back. We'll fix it. So I was like, okay.
Wow.
So I sent it back, and I'd say about a month later, hey, Pete, about a month later, they call me and go, well, we fixed your guitar, but the problem is that split. We can't do anything with it because we don't have that paint. That was a 1 of 1 that we did for a trade show that you bought.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, oh. So they're like, well, we could make a black racing stripe or a white racing stripe or something down the. And I was kind of like, I don't think I want that. It's going to look cheap, you know? So they said, well, the only other thing we can do for you is we could paint it the new color that your guitar inspired called Solar Flare. So I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll go for that. They're like, there's only one problem. We only do them once a quarter, and we just did them like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So we got to wait another 4 months. So, 3 months, whatever. So I was like, all right, I waited 2 years. I might as well wait to get it done right. So they sent it back to me, and the thing is just immaculate. It plays unreal. And sadly, Parker had such a great customer service. I'm sad to see them gone, but so that's the story behind this guy.
Do you think? Oh, that's awesome, amazing story, man. And do you think, I know, hey Veronica, how are you? With, maybe they're gone right now, but maybe they, can be a resurgence.
There has been some rumors, and I'm hoping that would happen.
That's what I was leaning to because I did do my internet check.
Yeah. There's a couple of guys that I'm in touch with regularly, and they're trying to make something happen. But, the other half of the problem is not only the cost, but the creation of how these are made. I don't want to turn it into a Parker clinic, but let me show you something real quick.
Well, you may as well, man. I'd love to know. This is very, very fascinating. I'll just cover for you again. There we go. But yeah, this is amazing. Just learning about the relationships behind the music, and that makes the world go round. Because without people talking and telling people like what I'm doing with Remco, because I'm actually going to be getting. Oh, you're back now.
No, but keep going.
Yeah, so I've got some ideas about. I mean, I've always got ideas, but things that fit me and what I do with guitar. You've seen some of my guitar videos, so
Yeah.
I think it's awesome, man. Because without the, how do I say, collaboration is probably the best thing that's happening. Because everyone has their own little skill set,
Right.
but I just love 155% passion because that makes the world go round. Anyway, what were you going to say?
Well, I used to do the clinics for them. So
Right.
one of the big misunderstandings with Parker was everybody thought they were made of carbon fiber or some.
I thought that. Oh, any tips tuning a floating tremolo? There we go.
If it's a Parker Fly Deluxe or a Classic, which one thing I got to tell you about the Solar Flare real quick, that's actually a Fly Classic from 1996 or 7, and
Right.
they didn't introduce that color until 2004-ish, I think, that specific new color. So what wound up happening was I have a 1-of-1 Classic with that finish. So it's pretty wild. I would
Right.
go to music stores and I'm like, Ken, nobody believes me that they're wood. And he goes, here. And he gives me a neck. The one time I was in the factory. So check this out. Where is it? There it is.
Hang on. I'll just zoom in. Hang on. There we go.
So it's wood.
Whoa.
It's a wood core. And if you see, wrong way. There we go. You can see that the fingerboard is also carbon fiber and the frets are glued to the fingerboard. So there's no fret groove in the fretboard. It's
Wow.
glued right on. And if you look really close, there's paint, and then there's a tiny, tiny, thin black line. That's the carbon fiber. And they would bake it into the guitar in an oven, in a pizza oven, like a real pizza oven. That's how he did it. You might be able to see the carbon on this side. There's a tiny thin black line along with the blue of the actual.
Yeah, wow.
That's the carbon fiber. So Ken said, oh, well, you could take your guitar and put it on 2 chairs and stand on it, and it won't break.
What?
I said, I'm not doing that. I'll do that with one that you give me to show at the show, but I'm not doing that with my guitar. So there's actually, pizza ovens rock. Yeah, but
as Andrew is saying, I want more Parker guitars. I need a resurgent.
yeah.
So Andrew, actually, you had a lot to do with Line 60 work for Yamaha guitars and now works at Solid Works. But sorry, just not interrupting. And we'll come back, Dominic, we'll come back to that question there. Are you there? I think we lost him. Uh-oh. I might just cover for you again. I think he's doing a bit of a hand solo. Are you back? Okay. Okay, cool.
Everything went dark for a second. I was like, oh
no. Is your laptop on power?
Yeah, I'm powered. I got 84%. Everything's cool. I don't know what happened there. That's weird.
Oh, well, do you have any, may as well plug it into 240? Oh, no, you guys don't have 240. Do you have 110?
I am good, but it actually...
Okay, cool. Just so it doesn't go flat, that's all.
Just
so it doesn't...
You can hear me good, though, right?
Because it just freaked out. It's all good. That's what happens in this world. Yeah. So anyway, so you're talking about the neck, and you can stand on it. Oh, what is that? Oh, that's the headstock.
This is the headstock.
So hang on, I'll zoom in. There we go.
So they gave me a headstock, so you can see that it's wood, and they also gave me a horn.
Now, when they say they gave you that, does that mean they manufacture these components individually and they stick them together?
No, what
Or
happened
is
was
that a sawn off?
these were sawn off from a guitar that was either returned for some kind of who knows what issue, or Ken was very particular. So if it didn't play good, he didn't want it to go out.
So he destroyed it.
If they couldn't fix it.
That's amazing. Right. So that means it keeps consistency in the marketplace, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There was an unfortunate time for them where a certain company got involved, which I won't mention, and they insisted on them rushing the process and getting stuff out the door, and they had a lot of issues at one point with certain things,
Right.
like electronics not being either soldered or coming undone. A handful, not like crazy epidemic. If you buy one, you're going to have this problem, but there have been some where the frets have fallen off because the glue was changed. So
Right.
again, I won't mention the company and company.
Understood.
There were two, but people can do their own research.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm glad you said that, because it's all about the dollar, isn't it? And it's disappointing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why in a second, but it's just disappointing that these guys who are like ingenious, ahead of the game engineering wise, and not just like electronic engineering, like manufacturing design, learning about what you were just saying about putting a carbon fiber glaze over the wood. So I remember reading an article about Ken Parker. He built the guitar like a beetle, a bug, like a crust. I don't know what you call beetles, but it's hard on the outside.
Yep.
Right. And that's where the strength is. The strength is in the outside shell, not from the inside out. And that's why he could make it so light, because that's where the strength is. And it blew my way. And then talking with, what's his name? Ola Strandberg. I've got a Strandberg over here somewhere.
He's another guy who's great builder.
Yeah, but getting inside his headspace, asking him why he chooses certain things on the guitar, and what blew me away is he doesn't see himself as a guitar builder. He sees himself as an industrial designer. So when you're making, I'm not saying this out of experience, but all the nerd stuff I've consumed, but have one point. So if you're making, I don't know, a truck, a rubbish truck, it does rubbish really, really well. So but it doesn't do carting people to school very well.
Right.
Probably crush the kids. But however, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, what with his Strandberg guitar, his point was being light and ergonomic. So that's why if that was the main point of the whole project and design team, so everything else that as a priority. So what's the lightest construction? And I just think that's really, really cool. Yeah. And getting back to this story about, I've got this guitar here. I'll show you for your American friends. This one here. Some people have seen this, but I'll just tell the story again. I'll just zoom in for a second for all the American people watching.
Absolutely.
This pickup here, the single coil here, this is actually a Kinman pickup, and it's a hamburger stacked. So this one's not a hamburger humbucker, but this one is a hamburger humbucker. So this actually is a humbucker, but it's stacked this way, and they're noiseless, right? Chris Kinman, he actually lived down the road from me in Brisbane. Would you believe? He revolutionized actually noiseless pickups, like full stop. Wow. And Fender wanted to, liaise with him and do some leasing deal, blah blah blah. Anyway, the deal didn't go so well, and
actually, sorry,
you got me on echo. So my point being is all because of the money. They ended up ripping his idea off him, and the Fender noiseless, line was born. And this blows me away because it just happened down the road from me that someone just revolutionized pickups. I mean, this is probably 20 years ago now, that when he had his first anyway, it's all about the money, and the whole sad story about with Ken and stuff. It's got genius ideas. It's all about the money. People want to say, "Hey, let's make hamburgers out of this." Not so good for, quality of product. Anyway, what were you going to say? Sorry, I got completely
Oh no, that's
sidetracked.
okay. I was actually just trying to you know, get over to my page and share it. And
Okay, cool.
as soon as I did that, the volume was cranked, and I cut into your story. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, that's great, and that is
Thanks,
so
Ed.
cool with the hamburger pickup idea. It's a humbucker on top,
Yeah, right. So it inverts it, so it cleans it up.
right?
Hey, I can't really do that. I'm running out of room. There we go. Cool. But yeah, what a shame. Money and greed ruin everything.
Where they're thinner, like the thin rail humbuckers in like a single coil, where they're together. But being a humbucker guitar fan or pickup fan, I don't really pay attention to single coils that much, and how they're, which I probably should, just so I
Well,
know about it.
it looks like a single coil,
Yeah,
but it's not.
right.
So,
Right.
and those ones where the Woodstock happens to all of us. Okay, cool. Yeah, that money and greed ruin everything. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, getting back to you were saying that Parker had issues because companies are involved trying to express or expedite the construction process. And
Yeah. So again, let me show you this. So these mini toggles on here, this way.
hang on, I'll just zoom in. Here we go.
So these mini toggles, right? I haven't replaced them since I bought this. This is like I said, a 1995 Parker. All the knobs, everything on this guitar are original, and I haven't had any problems with anything failing. No, dirt getting in these pots because of the way they're designed. Same with these switches; they're super solid switches, no issues. Knock on wood, just in case, right? Now let me show you something here. So after the bean counters, as I like to affectionately call them, they changed to these, what I like to call the crappy G switches.
Wow. Okay. Because they're
They
not
look-
full. Yeah. Right.
They look reminiscent of a certain company. So
Yes.
I've replaced these at least 4 times, and this guitar is newer.
Yeah.
They just don't hold up, So now what I did was I actually found my neighbor is an engineer, and he works on tiny circuit boards all day, and he's got access to a lot of parts. And he found the company that has that distributes those actual toggle switches. And what I want to do is I want to buy them for all the guitars that I have that have these terrible switches, and I'm going to
Replace them.
with the better ones. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
one more Parker story if you want.
Yeah. That absolutely, man. Yeah. Totally. Totally. This is. Oh well, I'm finding it interesting. So hopefully other people are too.
So this one is called a Mojo.
Yeah. Right.
It's one of
Oh,
25.
hang on.
Okay.
Yes.
One of 25.
Right.
It's the Four Seasons model. And they did 4 different guitars in different colors representing representing the seasons. So this
Damn
is
accountants.
fall. Okay.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Right.
There's winter, there's spring. Just a
Wendy,
my wife. Yes, she's a bean counter.
and so is Brendan or Shinbone. They're both accountants. That's funny. Sorry.
That's great. Affectionately called bean counter. So remember, I'm not. Hey, Angelo, what's going on? Oh, the M&M guitar. All right, maybe I'll show the M&M guitar just for
Yeah.
you, Angelo. So anyway, this guy, one at a time. This one is an olive burl top and a mahogany back and neck, and it's a Mojo. And they made 25 of each. One was this. One was summer and
Wow.
spring and winter.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
And what wound up happening was one of my students, again, saw me playing Parkers, wanted a Parker, and he was just traipsing around all these different music stores. This was a long time ago, looking for a nice Parker. And it turns out, yeah, good. You guys ready to go an all-nighter?
Yeah, why not? Just make sure you plug your laptop in. Plug your laptop in.
Oh yeah, it's charging. I did.
Okay.
So my student Joe, if you're watching, Joe Klein's, hey, this was his guitar, and I helped him get this guitar. There was a music store that I knew of called Alto Music, and his name is Phil. And I've known Phil, again, long relationships with basically everybody that I deal with.
Right.
You know, just really fortunate to meet these people along the way and have them as friends. He sold me one of my first guitars that I ever got that was a build that I built and put together. This guy, Phil, he had a store called Grand Guitars in Englewood, New Jersey. Then he sold the store, started working for Alto Music. And I knew he was up there, and I knew Phil hated, let's say, not hated, but he loves Fender and Gibson. Let me just sum it up that way. He's a Fender and Gibson guy, tone to the bone, Marshall. If anything's in the way, it's compromising the tone, that kind of thing. So they had this guitar up at Alto, and I told my student, he was trying to sell his Les Paul to get the money to buy this guitar. I said, just go up and see Phil, tell him you know me, and bring your Les Paul. And like $200 or $300 cash. He's like, you think he'll go for it? I said, yeah, Phil does not like anything modern, and he's probably looking to move it. I said, so just go up, tell him you know me. And usually when people go up and talk to Phil, the first thing he says after they say, hey, I know Vince Giannelli, he goes, I sold him his first guitar.
All right. Cool.
So, long story long, here we go. So my student goes up with the money and his Les Paul, and Phil gladly gave him this guitar in exchange. So now, fast forward 5-10 years later, and Joe doesn't want this guitar anymore. And he said, because you hooked me up with such a great deal, I'm offering it to you first. So he sold this to me for very little. It was a great deal. And he sold it to me for what he paid for it through Phil. And of course, Phil gave him a deal because he knew me. And that's how I wound up with this guy. So this
wow.
Beautiful. And it's a little warmer sounding because it's all mahogany with this olive burl top. They did change a few things with the Mojo. They added Seymour Duncan pickups. So the other ones have DiMarzio. And those knobs, like I said.
Yeah.
And the wheel, in case you didn't notice, is gone.
Yeah, wow.
So what they did was they put it in the back and you access it with a tool, because what wound up happening was people would go into the music stores and they'd go, hey, what does the wheel do? And they'd turn it without asking first. And then, and the whole guitar was out of tune, completely shot, like bar like this, all messed up. Yeah. So they did away with the wheel because people would mess around with it, whereas to set it up makes it like 2 seconds. So if I wanted to change from 9s to 10s on the other guitar, now I have to use this tool on the back of this one to adjust. Whereas the wheel, I could just do it in 5 minutes or less.
So they got rid of the ergonomic process just to keep floor stock in shape.
Right. Because, the retailers didn't really know how to adjust it either. So a lot of the stores were like, I got these guitars that are $3,000 and I can't keep them in tune. And that was why, is because they get them sent to them perfect. And then a customer would do this without them knowing, and then they couldn't tune the guitar. So,
right. Okay.
So they did away with that. Yeah.
And do you have any other Parkers?
Oh, yeah.
Are we allowed to get the grandiose tour?
It'll take forever.
Oh, well, just a flyover.
We'll do one more for Angelo. We'll do one more.
Okay.
All right, so let's get this.
Are we allowed to have a look in the cupboard at all? Oh, actually, we can sort of see behind the cupboard there. You've got like a massive.
Yes, there's a bunch.
So, how many Parker flies do you have?
Probably close to 15.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
So this one is near and dear to my heart.
Okay, I'll zoom in. Hey, Larry. Oh, Larry Mitchell's on. Hey, Larry.
Oh,
How you
hey,
going, sir?
Larry. He's got many. Larry played a lot of mine. There's actually video. I'm going to post it, even though Larry said don't post it.
Oh,
I'm going to do it, Larry, because anything he plays is great. You know.
Larry's amazing. Yeah, I must say, going back to that story you said, sorry, about how Larry was very gracious in loaning you his guitar.
Yes.
When I first met Larry, I only knew Larry for about 40 seconds, and I didn't have a guitar. And he just said, "Hey, man, you can use my guitar." And I said, "Well, how will I find you to give you a guitar back?" And he goes, "Don't worry, you'll see me." And because he's a mountain of a man, he's very, very tall. Awesome player, amazing player.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Oh, there he is. Hey, Larry. Sorry, I interrupted your story. What were you going to say?
I have a great story of how I met Larry, which we could go into later if you want. But check this out. So this guitar is absolutely amazing. This is another Adrian Blue signature model.
Wow.
I was told by the guy who was on this particular project, this is called a DF guitar, short for Dragonfly. Hey, Angelo, cool. You missed this guitar, right? I miss it too. This thing is beautiful. It has all the newer features, like no wheel. It's in the back. Okay. Also, you see this little thing here? I put this Allen screw in so I could flip the switch when I need to, because this was also changed to be only accessed with a tool. And I just wasn't having that, because live I drop D and I do stuff, and I need to shut the tremolo into locked position. So I did that, and I actually saw Ken about a year ago, and he looks at me and he goes, "That's a good idea." So check this out. So I'm getting to it. This is near and dear to my heart. My wife bought this guitar for me.
What? That's awesome.
Wait a minute. It's even bigger awesome. Before, we were going out like a month or two. And she saw my guitar collection, and I was talking about looking for an Adrian Blue guitar. This was about 8 years ago now. Wow. And we were only dating. And she goes, "I found the guitar you want." And I was like, "No." Like, yeah. So she sends me a link, and I was like, "Wow, that's it." And she goes, "I'm buying it for you." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "You can't." No, I was like, "You can't buy that for me. It's a ton of money." Like, "No, please don't." And of course she did, and it showed up on my doorstep. And I will admit that yes, she's a keeper. She actually is. She's awesome. But I'll tell you, in front of the world, I welled up a bit because I couldn't believe that this woman bought me a guitar, and and it was great. So, hey, Jenny. So this is the guitar. Hopefully it's in tune. They changed a few things on this one, which I'm not fond of, but I have a guy who,
she just dubbed you in. I'm such a right.
It's great.
I've actually met Wendy. She's a legend. So that's awesome.
Larry.
Go, Wendy. Hey, Miss Lamb.
Oh, that's awesome. So, yes, I cried.
Oh, that's very a masculine cry, right?
It was masculine. It was an emotional. Yeah. So anyway, we'll move on with the story.
That's awesome. She even brought it up. I'll just zoom in for your guitar. Here we go.
Okay. So affectionately named the M&M by our friend Angelo. This guitar is it's beautiful. It's got a 3-way toggle switch, which they changed. So it used to be those mini toggles, but they did a Strat style. So basically, you got on humbucker, both, and the neck pickup.
There you go. Ah,
My wife
good
gets
need-
it. They don't all sound the same, and she gets it. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so this thing's a beast. It's very thick tone. It's a mahogany body and neck, so it's all mahogany. And it's got a Sustainiac in it. So
Right.
check it out. And then you can do the octave by twisting the knob. And then back to regular.
Is that actually the octave, or is that a
Check it out. It's the harmonic.
Oh,
So
yeah, it's a
this middle knob here is a tone when it's not engaged by pulling it up.
right.
So now it's a push pull knob there. There it is. Okay. And then if you give it a little click, it's in harmonic mode.
Yep.
And this also has the 13 pin setup, so I could plug directly into my Roland, which then I can do, the sustained stuff from the Roland and go into my Axe effects as well. Yep.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, the problem and why I don't play this guitar too much is because, this paint is amazing. They call it blue, as in Adrian, Belew, berry. So it's
Wow.
berry.
Blueberry.
Yeah.
I love it.
So it's got a metal flake to it. Mostly all of their paint jobs have some sort of flake, some cool. But anyway, what happened was I don't play it too much anymore because this is one of the years where the frets had issues, and I've had frets pulling up. And I attempted to fix it on my own since we're in quarantine and I can't send it off to my guy. And I really wanted to play it. And I messed up a couple of things. And now another one fell off that I didn't fix. So this is a new problem. So I may have to call Patrick Cummings. He's the owner of Brian Moore Guitars. Remember them, Brian Moore?
Yep.
So he's amazing. He's got some really great builds, and
There's a question for you from Jenny.
They're not really fat frets. They're pretty small. Although they do look that way, but they're flat, so they're not too round. So they're very low profile. Let's see if we can get.
Is Jenny related to
There we go.
Mike Portnoy?
I thought of that the other day when I saw your name go by on my feed. So Jenny, are you related to Mike, the fabulous drummer of Dream Theater? All right. So anyhow, they're like a medium fret. They're very, very low profile, super fast playing guitar. Well,
Okay.
it's not like we dislike you or like you any less. You're not. It's totally
That's
fine.
cool. That's cool.
But this thing is amazing, and I got to get it up and running. So I think
There's a good point.
David.
That's
David.
good. Jenny wishes she was related to Mike.
Yes.
Well, you can be your own rock star in your own right, Jenny.
That's right.
So well, that's what I keep telling myself anyway, and I'm still working on it. Watch this space. Work in progress.
Me too. Trust me.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
with the technology today, it's really awesome because you can. Patrick is working on my pre-final. Oh, awesome! Patrick is unbelievable, man. Your guitar is in super good hands. Um, I don't know if you're on. Yeah, your name is familiar, Will. I think you're on the Parker forum. I've posted him
Oh,
there many times. Uh, you know, for work. So if you need anything done, even electronics. Oh boy, now we're into it. Here we go. Hold on.
okay. That's cool. But can you still hear me when you're at the back of the room there?
Oh yeah.
So I like what you showed me there with the Adrian Belew signature guitar, and I'm a king of ergonomics. I mean, if you ever come to my house in Oz, and I really hope you do one day
That would
in
be great.
Australia. Actually, I did take a photo where I was working the other day. There was kangaroos actually there because people ask all the time, "Do you have kangaroos in the backyard?" And I said, "No, they're actually in the front yard." However, um, the with the ergonomics of accessing the Sustainiac and everything, because I'm in the moment. I know all this like pull up, push down, all this kind of thing. For me, at the moment, I think having everything one way. So, I don't want to pull up to do anything. I want to play and then like a tap.
Push,
Is it a on
push,
push,
push.
push? That's what
Yeah,
it's called. Push, push. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm investigating because I got some really cool things.
yeah. I actually want to have Patrick replace all my guitars that have Sustainiacs with push because
Ah, thank
it,
you. I'm
it
not the only one. Okay,
it's
cool.
difficult and it's hard to get to,
Yeah.
especially if you're used to them being in one specific area. So, for example,
Yeah.
guitar came up on eBay a long time ago, and this is a
Okay.
Magic Blue, and I had Patrick put in
Oh,
Maniac.
is right to lift it up a little bit there? So just there's some extra buttons in there. Just a little bit more.
Oh
That's
yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
yep.
You need a pilot's manual to fly that, man.
Well, unfortunately, it came like this, and I don't use any of these.
So what has it got in there?
So this button here is I believe, I don't even know what it does anymore because I don't use them. Let's plug it in and have a look. I'll tell you. That way it's correct.
Because I want to get a Sustainiac that has buttons, not switches, so I
Yes,
can touch on, touch off.
that's what I want to do with my other guitars and this one as well. So this guitar came to me. It was used, and it had this guy here already built in. This is the Roland
Okay,
GK
bro.
pickup. Hi, Veronica. I think you asked to see the olive burl again, which I could certainly do. Is that?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Yep. No problem.
Yep. Just remind me if I don't.
Those turn into single coil. Oh, so Jenny knows what's going on there.
Well, I had Patrick put in a coil tap or a coil split. So
Right.
this guitar did not have that. So check this out. This basically does everything. It's got the acoustic and the electric. Okay. And this guy here is
Okay.
volume for the magnetic pickups, tone for the magnetic pickups.
Yep.
This, I believe, is the piezo pickup, and this is the synth pickup, if I have that correct. I don't use these buttons. This has up and down for the guitar synth. So I
Oh,
can,
okay. So it's MIDI. It's
yeah,
MIDI set. Yeah. Right.
I can change the programs on here. But really, I have all of that going MIDI out through the Axe effects. So if I change the pedal board on the FC12, it
Right.
changes everything I need to change, and I don't need these buttons. But this guitar came this way, so I didn't want him to rip it out and have holes. It also had the big GK pickup here, and I had him pull that out, and we put the Ghost pickups underneath.
Oh, what brand of Ghost pickups is it?
I can't remember, but it's the piezo ones that work with the synth. And this is something Patrick does as a standard if you want something like this done. So,
Oh, so is it Patrick's own product that he's putting in there, like putting piezos under every single saddle?
Yeah, it's not his product, but it's Ghost is the company, and then he
Okay.
installs them with the Roland GK for people instead of the orange.
Oh, to swapping out because then it becomes a piece of the hardware, not an extra bit
Right.
for the string to track. Yeah, right. Okay, that's awesome, man.
So then I had him put in the Sustainiac, and then also since I was used to having the Sustainiac as my center switch, that's where it is for on and off. So every guitar that has a Sustainiac has this center switch as the on off to
Right.
keep with what you're talking about, ergonomics and reflex, because I go to grab it, and if it's not there, I'm going to turn or move something that I didn't intend to. Um, and then for kicks, I just had to make the master volume a coil split.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's this guitar. And
So that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
thanks. Yeah. So I highly recommend if you need any Parker Fly work done. Graph text. Thank you. Thank you, David. But yeah,
There's a
need it
question.
done. You could always, yes, the pickups are active. Yep. So I should say this.
Oh, I think you're gonna have to say that again because it just is stuck. I'll cover. I'll cover.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, you're back.
I'm back.
Spinal tap. Okay, hang on. There we go. So you just said, I'm just going to say this. You know, so it just froze. So there you go. So what are you going to say?
You remember the other Parker, the other blue one, has the wheel.
Yes.
So this is a refined, is how they describe or distinguish the two types of Parkers. There's pre-refined Parkers that have the wheel and the original electronics that have a sort of a boost built in. There's they're active, in other words. I'm not active.
Oh, this is gold.
Thank you. Don't get wise. No, it's fine. I love it. No, it's great. The interaction is great with people. So this is a refined, and it doesn't have the wheel. So this does not have active electronics.
Okay.
So that was another thing that they did away with because, people complained and they listened. So
And that whammy bar, man, looks like it's on steroids.
this thing is their own design.
It's a long one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Do you like long ones? I'm talking about whammy bars on your guitar.
I was going to say that's what she said, but anyway.
Oh man, this is funny.
It is. It is longer than the standard bar, which is fine. I'm used to it now, but when I did first get it, it was a little weird because I kept hitting it. But now when I go back to like a Floyd Rose guitar, I'm like missing the darn bar. I'm like grabbing for it and it's not there. It's like an inch back. So, yeah.
You know what? I've got this invention, so I don't know if I should say it, but I want to put a whammy bar on a spring.
Okay.
Right? So when you pull it in, actually, I don't have one here. So actually, there's one up there with Remco. So I want to be able to pull it in, use it, and then let it go here, and it flies back into thing.
Almost
right?
like a bad horsey wah-wah.
Right. I mean, because when you use a clutch pedal, it bounces back by itself, right?
Makes sense.
I mean, maybe you shouldn't drop the clutch. You might do a burnout. But, just these other... I may have done a few. But anyway, that's my idea. Like, I've got so many ideas about when I'm being creative with the music is I don't want to have to do a motor skill to interrupt the thought process of actually delivering what's happening,
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
When I set up my pedal board, everything is in the same spot. I know a lot of guys have different presets, and especially with the Axe effects, the versatility is like insane. But there are certain things that I just want where I need them to always be. So, like, in other words, when I go into pedal board mode, my distortion is always the third pedal from the left. So I know that third button is always going to be distortion. And
Rubber band and a strap lock. Yeah,
yep.
I did a gig. I Facebook live stream last night, and my strap lock fell off.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Well, sorry, actually, my strap fell off. I needed a strap lock. Yeah, on my acoustic guitar. Yeah, very embarrassing. But anyway, it happened. Can't do anything about it now. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, go back to ergonomics.
yeah.
Right.
So like my pedals are set up a certain way, so I'm not figuring it out, And it's funny when I do change something, it totally messes me up. So,
Right.
I had to make a couple of changes recently because I was making unnecessary mistakes because I'm looking at the floor trying to figure out where I am, and then it's taken away from the playing. So I want everything to be
About the playing.
the playing, and everything else is secondary.
Yep.
And that's how it should be. So my cool expression pedal that I showed you the other day, to the left and right is volume.
Yes, I want to get one of those. That's so cool, man. So cool.
Yeah, Derek over at DB Music Instrument Amp is the name of the company. Great guy, builds quality stuff. Like I told you, you could hit somebody with that and kill them. I mean, it's a serious pedal. It's well, I don't know if we should show the Hulk tonight.
You don't want to? We should.
We'll do another time. Let's do another night of this.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah.
That way we have more. I mean, not like we're ever going to run out of stuff to talk about, to be honest with you, but
because you still got like another 100 Parker Flyers to show off. So
at least,
Yeah. But I really like your story about getting endorsed and actually getting feedback from the guys who make that, and being exposed to someone. Oh, here we have a big post here. Someone about who's pushing the envelope, technically building something. Here we go.
Yeah.
My 15-year-old uses otherwise dodgy, useless guitars, new purchase parts and handmade parts to create some very unique Frankenstein guitars. We've only had a couple end up in the bin. One acoustic, one electric. Early lessons learned on what not to do. Would you recommend pimping guitars? What do you think, Vince?
Oh, well, when you find one that you like and you want to do stuff to it, then it's worth it. You could do whatever you want to it from that point. So, like, for example, with this Parker, we can call this one a Frankenstein because it's got like everything in it that you could possibly want. But
give Wendy time to get you another one. Wendy will have to come on the show one day. That'll be cool.
Yes. Well, she's been super. She's incredible. I anybody who meets her, Larry, we've had him here. We've done gigs together. When he's in the area, he usually hangs here for a couple of days, and we just talk guitar and do what we're doing, but hanging in the same room. And then it just doesn't even go with music. Then it's just like all kinds of nutty stuff, and he's pulling up these Stormtrooper videos and all of this. I mean, it's great. So anyway, but when you find a guitar that is like home, and obviously Parkers are my home, like that's it,
right?
And there's a lot of great builders out there. I've tried many guitars, and nothing. And it's the slogan. It's true. Nothing plays like a Parker. That was their slogan. That was their mission statement. Nothing plays like a Parker. Nothing is light as a Parker. And again, once you find your home, the one that really like, and this was a sales thing that I would tell people too. My old boss would always put what he liked to call spiffs on certain guitars that he wanted us to sell. Oh, if you sell that guitar, I'll give you an extra $100 commission. And I'd look him dead in the eye and go, that guitar is a piece of crap. I'm not selling that to somebody. I don't care about the $100.
Yeah.
I would rather, and this is why I was successful in sales when I did music sales. I was always #1 salesman every month. The other guys hated me. But and this is exactly why though. I didn't lie about gear. I didn't lie about guitars. I didn't say, yeah, that Les Paul's awesome. maybe it is. Maybe it is awesome, but maybe for you it's not awesome. So basically, I would walk people around and say, "Why don't you try 10 different guitars before you settle on something you think you know or like?" Because even though, yeah, variety of guitars,
Yeah, right. That's
but
true.
even though like you know, people come in, they wanted to buy a Les Paul or a Strat or whatever, Steinberger, whatever, it didn't matter. I'd say, well, why don't you try something else too, just to make sure? Because the guitar, or the question that I would get is, what's the best guitar? And I'd say the best guitar for you is the one that feels comfortable. End of
Yeah,
story. The one that when you sit down and play it, it makes you want to come back and play it. You
yeah.
know? And one thing I always said about these guitars is when I play guitar, I don't want to feel like I'm fighting to play guitar. I just want to sit down and feel comfortable and not have to worry about like, oh, I got to put a little extra push here because in this spot of the guitar, it's higher because that fret's dead, or and everybody's had that problem. If you have a dead fret because it wears out, the other great thing with these is they're stainless steel frets. I never had a fret job on that other one. That's my first one. So, but anyway, my whole point is my whole
That's one Ferrari and one guitar.
yes, one Ferrari and one guitar, please. But my whole point is if you find a guitar that you like, whether it's something you put together and it costs $200 for all the parts and your time, or more than that money, you could buy parts that are more expensive. But let's say you find something that you like for $500 and that's your price range, and it plays great and you're comfortable on it, then there's no reason why you can't just keep that guitar as your guitar forever
Mm.
and put in like a sustainer
Yeah,
and
that's on my wish list. I want to get one of those. I got one. Remco's loaned me one with one of those in there.
nice.
Yeah,
But you could do that. You could put the guitar synth in if you're into guitar synth stuff. I like to just use it for the pads so I have something to play over because I just hate sitting there playing with no tonality behind me. I feel
the
naked.
harmony. Yeah, you
Yeah,
need the harmony.
yeah.
But
So
with my first guitar, I think I bought it for $50.
wow,
So in American money, it only probably cost two.
wow.
But because our dollar is shot at the moment, um, and I wore the frets out. And I still got it. I was actually talking to Brendan night before, about restoring it or just leaving it as it is because I've bled over that. I've hit people with that. Like I've done some wild gigs, But as everyone has who's
Yeah.
done, in the industry. But yeah, I'm in sort of. Should I leave it as it is? Oh, Brian May's playing one of his built guitars. Yeah, that's right. Because he built that with his father, right? That guitar.
Yeah, he built
Out of
they were broke. They were broke and he couldn't afford a guitar. So they took on a project. He said it took 2 years and that's because they didn't have money and they decided to build a guitar and it became the father-son project. And look at what happened with that. I mean, same with Eddie Van Halen, a $200 parts guitar turned into
yeah,
iconic,
yeah.
history.
Well, that's what. Yeah, my. I don't know if I can show it here. Maybe we'll do that again another time. But yeah, so just in relation to Veronica's question there, just it's called immersion. That's how I describe it to my students. Just need to get involved and just get on. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's motorbikes, you pull bikes apart and learn how they go.
Yeah.
Or if they're expensive motorcycles, I take it to my mate who's an expert. So because I don't want to break it. But hang on, I know several great guitar players, dad's friends use EMG pickups. Are those any good?
I love EMGs, and I also have a Parker with EMGs in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was one of a few built again. It was I can't remember who they built it for, but it was the DF style, which was the Dragonfly body, and it had a Floyd Rose. It has a Floyd Rose and EMG pickups on it.
Yeah, wow.
It's a screamer. I mean, it's amazing, that guitar.
Well, we might maybe just quickly get that other guitar that,
Oh yeah, yep.
and then we might make it two more questions, and then 'cause
Sure.
I've just noticed the time. It must be like, is it 10:30 at night there for you, or?
Correct, sir. But it doesn't matter to me. But I must
Uh,
admit, I am getting a little hungry.
understand. Okay, here we go. This is for Veronica.
Yep, this is the olive burrow. And thanks, Will. And this is number 7 of 25.
That's amazing. Oh wow, 7 of 25. Yeah, wow.
And again, this was no, I do not have one of Ken's arch tops, but I've played. I think I played Olive Branch a few times. That's one of his
Thanks, Dave.
arch tops. Beautiful guitars, and he's fantastic. If anybody's on the Parker Facebook group, my friend VJ Manzo, who has also been bitten by the fly bug and has many Parkers as well.
I really want to get one. So if you find a good one in the States, or you maybe want to sell one, let me know, man. I would love to get one.
Yeah.
I'll have to have another chat with you again. All things ergonomic, because I've got some cool things happening. I've just got this massive post here. Let's quickly read this out. Oh, teasers. We'll all be back for more when you both catch up again. Love your live streams. Thank you very much. Thank you for all your hard work behind the scenes. You should all follow Doug. Yes, you should. Thank you, Veronica. You can access previous live stream strats in such a fun way to gather information that would normally only come from experience. And these people share honestly, generously for us to appreciate and all learn from. So that's a nod to you there, Vince, and from Jenny. Nice. Thanks, Jenny. But yeah, is there maybe one more point you want to maybe share about what we were talking about, arch tops and anything new? So I guess if there's no more Parkers being made right now, because when did they close up shop? Just last year, October?
Officially, it was, I guess, 2015.
All right, that was not last year. It was a little bit later. But I'm still, once they close the doors, still there's stock around. The reason I said that, I've been reading, try to do my homework.
Yes.
There's still stuff around.
Yeah, they had stock that they sold off, of course.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Veronica. They had stuff that they sold off, of course. So, I was lucky to, yes.
We need to have a bean counter series, Wendy. Bean counter.
But yeah, I keep my eye out for any Parkers that may be a good deal or a rare one, and provided that I can actually afford it if it's not ridiculously priced, because at this point now everybody knows they're not being made, so it's very hard to find one under $2,000 at this point. American,
so that'll be about $3 million here in Australia. So yeah, I'm joking, but I think the exchange rate, we were trading at 56 cents, so it'd nearly be close to $4,000 Australian.
Yeah.
For a second-hand one. Yeah.
Yeah. Oddly enough, one came up like 3 days ago for $1,400.
Wow.
It was just one of those things where I was kind of like, should I get it? Nah, just and then like the next day it was gone, because at that price people just know.
Yeah, it goes. Well, I think you've just uncovered and lit a new fire with people sharing, the construction and also the love of engineering that's gone into it. I definitely want one, just to say I've got one. And it's funny you say about collecting guitars. I mean, you can see a few I've got here in the background, but I've got, that's a Steve Morse. Four pickups in it, early ball. Mm-hmm. And this is a bourbon burst. Bourbon's very important. That's the only reason I bought. I really wanted a 335. There's only a couple. I think I've gone through my rig. That's something Remco's built, headless fluence pickups, and it's my 7 BSB, and then just standard Les Paul, and this other one over here with two. I actually want to get that customized. I want the bottom horn. I can't even point to it properly. I want the bottom horn routed out. I want to get it customized.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I've got so many crazy. You want to see crazy? This is crazy.
Show us crazy.
This is for all the people in New York watching. Oh my God.
That looks like a Michelangelo guitar.
Yes. I can't go back too far, but this is crazy. Only in
That,
Australia, right? So,
that's awesome.
yeah. So, been practicing like this.
Wow.
Yeah, I might have to practice before I do a YouTube clip, but rock and
Goodness.
roll.
I can
Here we
only
go.
I can only keep the left hand you know working this way. Forget it.
Yeah, I might have to work on the weight of it too, because
It's pretty heavy.
I might have to, yeah, get the router out. But anyway, maybe, oh, go Remco, mate. Well, I think here we got something from Phil. Will here. Thanks for hosting this, Doug. This has been great. Vince, see you in the forum. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, any last point? And don't hang up. Just wait in the background, and when we finish it. But any last thing you want to say?
Well, I know I know we got into the whole guitar thing, and I know our title was supposed to be web streaming tips. So
Yeah, I'll go and edit it.
we'll
Details. Yeah,
we'll have to do that another time.
yeah. Because we were going to get you to play. Get you to play. But anyway, we've gone for about an hour and a half. But I would love to do this again, sir, if that's convenient for you.
Yeah,
And
you want to keep because again, consistency is a thing. You want to do maybe next Friday or every other
why not?
Friday. Or,
Yeah, we'll try next Friday. We'll see if we can get that camera thing going, and because
Yeah.
you've got some really, really sick camera. And but anyway, all right, we might leave it there. But thank you, everyone that's watching. Please, do you want to maybe quickly drop your? That is so confusing. And say, oh, there he is. No, he's not. He's over there. Yes. No. Yes.
Nope, you're over there.
It's hard, isn't it?
Even though you're actually over there.
Yeah. It's bizarre. So, do you want to quickly maybe drop your socials?
Yeah.
How do people find you?
I have a YouTube channel, so it's youtube.com/Vince Ginella.
Yep.
Also here on Facebook at Vince Ginella Music. And you can find all of that stuff at vinceginella.com, just on the web, and that's my official website. I could put that in the chat, or you could put that in the chat.
Yeah, I made you. Yeah, please at the end of this, go in and drop all your.
Wendy put it in the chat like she's mine.
Yeah, get Wendy to put my stuff in too. That'll be good. Outsourcing.
Let me put this down for a second. So,
Okay. No.
oh, yeah.
Well, okay then. Well, we might wrap it up there. I'll just pull you from the feed for a second if you want to stay online. And
Thanks everybody. And
when's your next gig?
Oh, okay. So every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern time, New York time, I do a live show. And sometimes I go on a little later because there's always something. There's always something. It drives me nuts. That goes on last minute. Audio. So
Jenny's getting upset we haven't gone yet. I don't think so. We'll keep saying we're bye. Anyway.
it's like
I'm going to pull you from.
It's like Italian dinner, It's like you start saying goodbye. Here's what happens: you start saying goodbye an hour and a half before you intend to leave because you got to hug every relative and you got to make sure you say goodbye because if you don't, you'll never hear the end of it. And then there's always one aunt who forgets you said goodbye because you're still there for an hour, and she goes, "Oh, I didn't see you." Yes, we said goodbye an hour ago, and I'm still here saying goodbye. So with that. Thank you all for tuning in. Doug, this has been awesome. It's a fun day.
You too, sir. Thank you. I've actually learned a lot. I've really enjoyed it. Yeah, so thank you for your expertise, and I look forward to doing this again. I'll just keep you on the backstage there. Thanks, Vince.
Sure, I won't leave. Cool.
See you.
Thanks.
There we go. So I just hit the wrong button. So you're still here. Details. So thank you for watching, and there's a couple of other guitarists watching. So here we go. We got some more points there. You go on late trying to decide which park to play. Yeah, that's true. We did start late, and that was actually Vince's fault. So Vince had a great time on Monday night. Yes, in Kev. Great cast indeed. My Fridays are looking awesome. Oh, that was Friday in New York. So that means Saturday for Australia. So Please like and subscribe. Vince's socials, that'll be in the end of this thing and at the end of the chat. And also, please like and subscribe on my YouTube channel because I actually need some friends, please. And so that's youtube.com/Doug DeJong. And also, this TV show is called Make Some Noise with Doug DeJong. And I need to work on getting some little fancy thing to make it look like that. And here we go. Larry's just talking to me. I haven't said we need to get Larry on here. Larry would be awesome because he's a great player and he knows a ton about gear too. So maybe we'll do that with Vince. Maybe we do a three-way thing, if you know what I mean. And anyway, I'm going to go now. So please, Doug DeJong Music on Facebook. See you again soon. Whoops, and he's back again. I can't get rid of him, man. You're stuck in there.